Our intro music is provided by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com.
You're listening to my friend Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, the best in paranormal radio.
Well, hi, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good night tonight. I'm barely talking. I woke up this morning. I couldn't even hardly say a word. Boy, I went and bought some throat spray, cough drops all day, just where I could talk for a little while here tonight on the show. Hey, they said in the government today, it's going to cost $13.9 billion over the next 5 years, to create the Space Force that our president wants. Of course, it's still up to Congress to see if it will happen. But $13.9 billion. And our president did put the tariffs on China. Well, another 200, I don't even want to say the amount because I break out in a sweat. What's that going to happen? Well, in about a week, they're saying on the news, you know what? You better go buy that new color TV, that new electronic device or whatever now within the next week because the prices are going to go up about 40% in the stores on electronics in about a week. That's what they're saying. The government is actually saying that, and plus, Wall Street Journal. What's that mean to you and me and everybody? Well, if you're wealthy, it's not going to affect you at all. Middle-class persons, I think it's going to affect them somewhat. And people that are living from paycheck to paycheck, you better get that TV now because in a week, you're going to be paying about 40% more. I don't know. Well, then the Chinese kind of retaliated and threw their own tariffs back towards us. So when will this stop? I don't know. But I'll tell you one thing, it's going to cause a lot of job losses. Well, in a minute, we're going to have James on, who is, a paranormal ghost hunter. You name it, in the paranormal, he's an expert on it. He'll be in and right after this.
Night Dreams, Scary Story Night on Friday nights. Call in at 9:30 p.m. Pacific at 1-253-203-6695.
Yeah, and make sure you call in the last half an hour on Fridays, all the way through October. You know what? For the most scariest story, you could win a cool prize. And in September, you could be the winner of a nice recorder to go out and, record if your wife is cheating on you. Or actually want to go get some nice, interesting sounds from the cemetery. I don't know. Either one, you could, take your pick. Hey, James, how you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing good. How you doing, Gary? Sore throat, I can feel for you. I did one of my shows with a sore throat, couldn't talk half the day, and then when it was time to do the show, a storm came through, electric went out, I had to go to another town. It was crazy. So I feel for you.
I don't know, but the best thing is, you know what? I think tomorrow I'm going to just stay in bed till it's time to do the show. I mean, I got some great guests coming up here. Like on Friday, I got a person who's into horror masks and trivia for, horror movies and stuff like that, who's an expert, and he put on a scare fest just last week. And it's going to be interesting because, I just got into, some of the groups, the horror groups up on Facebook. I didn't even know they exist. But, all these old, B movies and all that stuff of the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, people are just crazy over them.
I love those old 50s and 60s and even 70s, the old Hammer films. I just love those old things, especially The Vampire with Christopher Lee and, what's his name? He's my favorite actor. I can't even think of his name. The other one,
I can't even think of it either, but I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, the little guy used to always...
Christopher Lee, well, it's Christopher Lee and the other one.
They were in movies together, probably a dozen or better. Can't even think of his name now, but anyway, they were great movies. I love those old movies.
And they had great-looking chicks that always got bit in the neck, and turned into vampires.
They always wore dresses about 3 sizes too small, it seemed like.
Yeah, or they had breasts that were about 3 times normal size, one of the two.
Yeah, something like that.
I don't know. The one I really used to enjoy, the one where they're out in the kind of jungle and they're in the water, scuba diving for something, and this creature Yeah.
Black Lagoon.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
Yeah,
Oh,
what I liked about that is, in a couple of the scenes, you could see where the zipper was.
yeah, right. Yeah, especially in high definition TVs, if you can get into look real good. Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's the type of movies I like. The ones that are so bad they're actually good. I mean, a couple of years ago, I didn't even get into them. I've always been into sci-fi movies, like space movies and, things like that. But then I started watching a network called Comet. And,
I watch that network sometimes too, yeah.
Yeah, of course, they've been showing the Space Bird one here this past week and a half. And
Rodan or something, I think.
No, it's not Rodan. It's another one where this creature has come down. And
I seen that one. Yeah,
and it eats airplanes.
Yeah, he was terrorizing a bunch of people.
Yeah, but that monster, I'll tell you, they must have had a budget for that monster of less than $200.
Whatever was in the producer's pocket at the time, I think that's about it.
Well, I was actually reading they had the choice of putting more money into creating the monster, or, paying for the better class actors. And I guess they chose the better class actors. Nowadays, I mean, let's face it, it's all digitalized, it's all fake. But you know what? Yeah. It's so realistic. Those, you look at them with their eyes and see, you can see the strings and all that stuff and the way they glide. I don't know.
Yeah.
But,
Godzilla was a man in a suit walking on a little town.
Yeah, a little miniature town. Yeah. And they were all saying, Kwam Kwe Anyo. Anyway, why don't you tell everybody your name, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for?
My name is James Creachbaum Jr. I've been in the paranormal for probably 30 years. With the internet, the last couple of years, I got on it and it's kind of expanded a lot more. But I've had many experiences. I don't know, I hate to categorize things, put labels on it, but I mean, I do have some psychic abilities, and I've tried to put it off for years, but it came to a point where I couldn't ignore it anymore in like 88 at a spirit that wouldn't leave me alone in a house. And so when you're young, you don't want to be bothered with that stuff. At least I didn't, but I had no choice after a while. So as years go on, I've used that, and I used to investigate on the weekends all the time. I studied a lot of stuff, and I've turned it into what I do now, and what I've done for years is try to help people with paranormal problems, whatever it may be. And that's basically what I do today. Matter of fact, I just got a lady call me tonight. I've got to help her tomorrow with some serious evil spirits going on with her house.
Well, how many people?
That's what I do.
Well, James, how many people really have, problems with evil and ghosts and all that stuff?
Honestly, I get people that call me from all over the world every day. And, with being all over the world, I look, I'm restricted. I've got so much to do, and, I got to pay bills and take care of some other things, and help other people with family and stuff. So I can't just up and leave and go 1,000 miles plus I'm not financially set like that where I can just up and go another country or something. So I'm within a 100-mile radius helping somebody. So I help them best I can over the phone or PM with information, or try to find somebody local in their area that can come and help them. You know what I mean? And that's what I try to do. I do all this nonprofit. I've never, ever charged anybody for anything of any psychic readings or abilities. I've never charged anybody for helping them with paranormal problems, ever. Matter of fact, every time I leave the house, it costs me $20 to $40 just in gas, getting my Jeep and go anywhere in 6 to 8 hours of my time. So, I'm not in it to make money, because if that's the case, I'm going backwards. But I try to help people with paranormal problems, because I've seen whole families living in living room in one room, and that's not a way to live. It's miserable. It's awful. It's awful. And a lot of times it's just maybe infestation of bats or squirrels or raccoons or mice or termites even. It's not even a paranormal problem. And a lot of times you get mold or mildew. It can make you see and hallucinate. Some people. Matter of fact, just last week, I did all week. I was in Gettysburg, and the one house I was in was so moldy and musty. And I'm thinking, because usually where there's a lot of spirits, I get drained after a day or two. It's about all I can take. I mean, it just wastes me out. But this was worse, and I know it was the mold. You could smell it. It was just, the mold houses. It really gets to you. There's a lot of factors that go into it. It's not always paranormal. People nowadays with TV and the internet, it seems to be the first thing they jump on. Oh, it's got to be a ghost or a spirit or whatever. And a lot of times it's not. It really isn't.
What is the most scariest thing you've ever walked into that you couldn't figure out and you wanted to get away?
Probably the scariest, honestly, the scariest thing I ever seen in my life was July 20th of 1992. I was living, she's my now deceased wife, but she was my girlfriend at the time. I was living just a couple houses up, and her brothers came up to me, and they were beside themselves. Something's wrong. And I said, okay, we gotta go down to the house. Her parents had left for the night to do some business and to be back the next morning. So I go there, and she was, I can laugh now, but I got to tell you, the scariest thing I ever seen was my girlfriend of 2 years. I was going to marry her, was engaged. And she was not her. She was foaming at the mouth, cussing, biting, spitting, speaking foreign languages that, I don't know, maybe Arabic and Latin, some funky stuff, and throwing things, tore the house up, her eyes all black, just pure evil. It's like, what did I just, and she had no history of any mental illness or nothing. That was the scariest thing to see your girlfriend who you're going to marry in that state. It just dropped my heart. And you've got two decisions to make. You either got to do something or walk away. And I couldn't walk away. I loved her. I was ready to die for her. If I'm coming into somebody that I loved and I was going to marry, I was ready, prepared to die for her. So, I'd been studying all kind of stuff for years, especially with evil and demonology and all that stuff. And I made an executive decision. I'm going to go for it. I've got to help this girl. My God, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What do you do? What do you do in that situation? That I would never. I can tell you, it changed 4 people's lives that day. Mine, my wife's, and her 2 brothers, and it's probably the root of what I do today, helping people with paranormal problems, because I couldn't imagine coming home and seeing it. That was the scariest, true to God thing I ever seen. And come to find out, unbeknownst to all of us, she was playing the Ouija board by herself.
You did.
Yeah.
Why did you bring up the Ouija board?
I know, but it's a true story. Believe me, I'm against them totally. I know people don't want to hear that. But listen, I can't count how many people have called me just in the last year alone with paranormal problems because of playing with that Ouija board. It's no joke. I'm telling you, it was the root of the scariest thing I've ever seen in my life. And that is it. That's the truth.
Well,
no bull.
My first wife, I didn't know her. I'm going to be honest with everybody. I knew her for 2.5 weeks. And we got married. Big mistake. The night of our wedding, right? We went down, my friends went down to a beach down in Seattle called Alki Beach. And they had a big bonfire, and they were, we were celebrating. I wasn't drinking at that time.